Hello, Tomlin here from Tomlin Harmonica School, and in today's episode I want to talk about things that you should know before you start playing harmonica. Now, don't worry if you've already started playing, this is still going to be pretty useful, but I'm imagining that you're harmonica curious at this stage. So the first thing is that if you want to learn harmonica, you almost certainly want to get a 10-hole diatonic harmonica in the key of C. And if that's all gobbledygook, don't worry, all will be made clear. But basically, there are a whole bunch of different sizes and shapes of harmonica, ranging from this kind of harmonica, if you're watching on the video, which is a 10-hole diatonic, to something like this, which is a chromatic harmonica, which has a button on the side. And on top of that, they come in different keys. So you see, when I go and play a gig, I've got a whole bunch of different keys of harmonica. But you don't need to worry about that. As someone who is just getting started on the instrument, the best instrument to get is a 10-hole diatonic harmonica in the key of C major. And the reason for that is that most of the educational material will be on one of those harmonicas, and also most of the music that you probably want to play, if you want to play blues music or folk music or country music, most of it was played on a 10-hole diatonic harmonica. So it's the best place to get started, unless you very specifically know that you want to learn to play chromatic or tremolo or chord or bass. But for now, I would suggest a 10-hole diatonic. And I highly recommend that you start with a good quality instrument rather than just a cheapy one that you find in a toy shop or in a cereal box or something like that. The one I recommend to my students is called a Hohner Special 20. All of this info will be in the show notes below. But yeah, Hohner Special 20, you can't really go wrong with that. I've been recommending them for years and they're still great. So yeah. 10-hole diatonic in the key of C. So next thing that you should know before you start playing is that it's easy to have fun on harmonica, but it's not easy to play well. And this is a real positive, because you should be able to enjoy yourself right from the beginning by playing some fun kind of chugging rhythms. But then to play those things like, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. And the reason that stuff is challenging is that just playing single notes on the instrument is going to be difficult for most people who pick it up. And I don't want to discourage you, I just want you to be aware of that. A lot of people are surprised by how difficult the harmonica is to play. So that's why it's one of the most bought and gifted instruments in the world, but not one of the most played instruments in the world. But the massive upside is that right from day one, you can play some fun stuff, you can play some chugging, you can probably do some nice bluesy sounding warbles. But going beyond that is going to take a little bit more effort. But it's totally worthwhile, I promise you. I just want you to go in with your eyes open. Okay, so the next thing that I think is worth mentioning is that if you want to learn harmonica, it's really, really handy to find a good teacher and stick with them for a decent chunk of time at the beginning. And a decent chunk of time is probably anything from 6 months to a year. And the reason for that is that if you've started to look at harmonica lessons online, you'll notice that there are hundreds of excellent resources out there on YouTube. There are loads of great channels, loads of free lessons, there are loads of paid lessons, there are loads of great teachers, and they are all great. But if you jump from lesson to lesson, teacher to teacher, then you're not going to make as clear, consistent progress as if you stick with one teacher and work with them for a chunk of time. Then, by all means, move on to another teacher or onto another learning modality, but try and get your foundations in. And if you want some help with those foundations, then check out the free course that I put together called Blues Harmonica Foundations. You can find all the info about that in the description below. That'll give you everything you need to get off to the best possible start on the instrument. And yeah, check that out below. But like I said before, it's not about working with me, it's not about working with anyone in particular. Find a teacher who you resonate with and stick with them for a decent chunk of time at the beginning. All right, another thing that I want everyone to know, because I get asked this question all the time by students, is that you are never, ever, ever too old to learn harmonica. The vast majority of my students started learning harmonica when they went into retirement. You know, they had a little bit more time, their families are grown up, and they wanted to learn something, and they wanted to learn a musical instrument. And they thought the harmonica was small, therefore it might be a kind of slightly easier, less intimidating entrance into the musical world. So there's nothing wrong with starting later in life. A lot of my students have gone on to join bands, record CDs, or whatever media we're recording on these days. And the most important thing, they all have fun with it. So don't be afraid to start. The best time to start is today. So age is not a factor. Please, I promise you. And don't send me one of those emails saying, "Hi, I'm X age, I must be your oldest student," because I promise you I have students who are older than you. I absolutely promise you that. And then the final thing that I want you to think about when you start learning to play harmonica, and this is relevant to all instruments, not just harmonica, but especially relevant to harmonica, is don't forget to relax. It's the most common issue I have with beginner students. They have this little instrument in front of them and it draws in all of their attention into it. And you can see them starting to hunch their shoulders up and lean down towards the harmonica, and they're getting more and more tense. And all of that tension translates to harmonica that doesn't sound good, and it makes all of the techniques that you want to learn a lot harder to learn. So really try and remember to relax when you're starting to play harmonica. And a great way to start learning how to relax when you play is lie on your couch when you're first picking up the harmonica and just breathe through it. I'm just playing the bottom 3 holes on the instrument. I'm just breathing in and out. And we're not trying to do anything cleverer than that. We're just getting used to having the instrument in our mouths and playing nice and gently and relaxed and not trying to force the air through. You don't need to, I promise you. You don't need to play hard. You don't need tension. You just need to be loose and relaxed. All right, thank you so much. I hope you found this useful. If you did, then write a little comment below or a little review on your podcast player of choice. And yeah, I've planned to do a series of 6 podcast episodes. So those will be coming out 1 per week. And you can let me know what you think of that. All right, take it easy. Happy harping.